most people know you for your amazing portrayal of Detective Watts on Murdoch Mysteries, and your performance in this film is equally brilliant, even though the characters are so different. Was that one of the things that attracted you to the film?
Thanks for saying that. Yeah, I think so. I think James is a lot closer to myself than Detective Watts is. So it was exciting to just get to play something that was more familiar to me. And in the past, I've often played characters that are a little bit larger. So just to play someone whose circumstances and kind of was relatable and less charactery, I guess.
Now, did you need to learn any Judaism, like anything about it for the role?
So that's actually interesting because Charles actually asked me not to learn the Hebrew prayer that James is asked to recite in during the ceremony, which was very nerve-wracking. We shot that part in like one long take, so there was no cutting around anything when I messed up, and I did definitely mess up pronunciation. But he had me learn the first few lines. He said I can listen to those and I can try to get the pronunciation right, because that would be something that James would grow up hearing. And then from that point on, it was just Sam, who plays the Mohel, saying like, repeat after me, and giving me the lines, and I would say them. The first few takes, I think, were probably brutal in terms of my pronunciation. I got a little bit better as it went on, and I think we ended up using one of the later takes, but it's still very precarious.
I would imagine it would be very tricky. I was trying to follow along with you, but after Baruch Atadunai, I was like, what? I wouldn't have been able to follow that at all.
Yeah, and you know, it's a very similar feeling being in this intimate atmosphere. Everybody's collected to create something and to sort of honor something together. It feels like a film set. It feels like you know, what I'd assume being at a Brit Milah would be like, because the pressure's all on you in that moment, much like it is when they call action.
This was filmed in Nova Scotia. Were most of the actors from Nova Scotia?
Yeah, I think almost everyone was, except for Kaylin, who plays Lola, my wife, and myself. I'd spent a bit of time in Halifax before, working on some plays and doing some theater there, and I really love the city.
Now, some of the most entertaining things about Detective Watts are his characteristic and his quirks. Um, is that something that I'd be right in assuming that you don't see them on the page, that that's something that you brought to the character yourself?
It's definitely a mix. I feel like the first episode where he was introduced in season 10, it was pretty inventive with coming up with different things, the papers and different aspects of him. I remember when I was auditioning, I was trying things out, just running lines with my wife, who's also an actor, and she suggested that to sort of convey the sense of distractedness and scatteredness that he has, to just be adjusting something on my own costume, on my own clothes. And so that led to sort of like this lint picking habit that he ends up bringing into the rest of the seasons. Is definitely grown. I look at stuff from the early episodes and I'm like, whoa, this isn't even the same character anymore. But it's kind of fun to be able to spend that much time with the character and let it grow.
We saw more of Detective Watson this season than in previous seasons. Was that because you were more available, or have the fans cried out for more of him?
I don't know. I think it was a mix of, yeah, some scheduling stuff, and also it was a shorter season, so I think they were packing more into those 11 episodes, and yeah, it was right things at the right time, I think.
It was great to see him in pretty much every episode. I was wondering, sometimes when they have a popular character on a CBC show, they do a little spin-off series on CBC Gem. Is that anything that's ever been discussed about for Watts?
I don't know. We did a Frankie Drake crossover where I got to play him older, which was really fun, and that was quite early on, actually. But yeah, I'm not sure what the plan is moving on. That'd be wild.
Yeah, would you be interested in doing something like that?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think it's been a really fun character to get to evolve, and the writers keep bringing new things for me to play with, and yeah, deepening of the character, which has been fun.
And let's go back to the Moil. So that does that mean rabbi in Hebrew?
Well, I guess so. And I hope I'm getting this right, but the Mohel would be more sort of his role at that moment, where he's performing the Brit Milah. So he's taking on the role of the Mohel, but he is a rabbi also. Yeah.
And what was it like making that film? Long did it take?
It was shot within a weekend, I believe. Yeah, just 2 days. And I really love short films because they are so condensed and intimate. And um, I've said this before, but shorts really remind me of theater. I came from theater, and there's a real sense of being able to communicate with all creative departments right in the same room, and we all know what we're making because we can see sort of where the creative spark originally came from. It's all really contained, and I love that feeling of not feeling like it's getting away from you, or that you don't really know where these ideas are coming from. It's all contained in especially with this film, pretty much that one house.
2 days is incredible. I've never heard of a film being done that. I mean, it is 15 minutes, but that's really incredible. How long does it take you to prepare for that role?
I'm trying to think when I first got the script. I had some long conversations with Charles about it. We didn't rehearse a whole bunch on the day because, obviously you're trying to film as much as you can and don't spend as much time rehearsing. But there's a unique quality that comes from sort of discovering things on camera too. So Charles didn't want me to know Sam, who plays the Mohel, that well. So we didn't talk as much. He would have loved it if the first time I talked to him on the phone, we hadn't met, but unfortunately we had to shoot things out of order. So by that point, it was, I believe, the last scene actually that we shot. And Kaylin and I knew each other earlier, so there was a familiarity there and kind of our own chemistry that came out of just having known each other. But yeah, I think I would prep something as much as I can on my own with the lines and stuff like that. But for a film like this, where there isn't kind of a comedic pattern or comedic kind of like build to the lines. It's very naturalistic. It was best to just sort of like learn the lines and then see what it feels like on the day. And Charles was really open about just sort of don't don't show too much, just sort of be there and be present. And I love his style of directing for that, for sure.
What are the biggest differences between doing a short film like that and something like a big production like Murdoch Mysteries? Your
I
craft
think
services. I mean, what's different?
Yeah, everything that you need was there. We were well fed and everything like that for sure. But but yeah, I think when I joined Murdoch, it was already in its 10th season. There's this sense that there's something really big that you are one aspect of, which is amazing. It's amazing to be part of something that has that many pieces and departments and everything like that. With a short, there's just a different kind of ownership, I think, that you have over the work and an immediacy with the creative spark that started it all. So you keep going back to that. You know why we're telling this story for sure. And with a big series, there are many stories, there are many writers, there's a whole network and everything. So it's just a different kind of expectations about what you bring to it and what your role is within it.
And finally, where can people and like fans see you in the Moyle? I know it played at a film festival last weekend, but will it be on a platform at some point?
Yeah, so it's still actually, so South by Southwest, because it was all digital this year, it's still available. If you went to the festival for the next month, I believe it's going to be until mid-April. And we'll see about a Canadian premiere or what the next festival is. It's interesting because it's digital this year. So everything's digital, so it'll probably be available to most of Canada when it's available anywhere in Canada, which is very unique because mostly you have to tour around to all the different festivals to get a short scene. So this is a kind of an exciting year for just exposure of these kinds of films.
Yeah, that's great that it's available to fans right now if they want to see it. Thank you so much for chatting with me today, and I hope to see you on many more episodes of Murdoch Mysteries and in many future projects.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Daniel.
Bye.
Bye.